And here's a picture of Charles Rogers from the Navy. He was in the Navy, but he was also in the Navy Intelligence Corps. I don't know exactly what they call it, but all of the armed forces, everyone knows that after World War II, all the armed forces, their intelligence people, were merged together to form the CIA. And we are in possession of a document that says he was in Navy intelligence. Here's his high school picture with him smiling. And there's the shorter tramp. Charles Rogers was 5'5", 145 pounds, and he was 41 years old that day. Every single feature is consistent. The only thing is the person on the right has aged from that high school picture. And on the left, you notice the man with the tie. Those 60s thin ties. He's got his head down. Notice the bones shaped in his forehead. The hairline. Everything. To me, this definitely could be Charles Rogers. Here's another picture of him. You notice that even though the blonde tramp is behind him, he still comes off looking a little taller. He should appear way shorter because in the distance things get smaller. So he's obviously shorter than Charles Harrelson. Now, investigators came out saying that this man, Harold Doyle, was the short tramp. I do not believe anyone needs a degree in structure, facial structure, to notice that this head is just shaped differently in this individual. His chin is a little longer, his nose is way bigger, and his lips are further away from his nose, and the eyebrow shape is completely different.
Just hang on for a second. Everybody clear in there? Everything's clear?
I mean,
excuse me, girls. Hey, over a second. Boy, anybody thinks that guy on the right is that guy has got to be out of their mind. This is being recorded, right? Go ahead.
Here's another view of the shorter tramp. Again, the tramp that I believe is Charles Harrelson, who is definitely taller than Charles Rogers. He's behind him like 10 or 15 feet, and he still appears taller than the shorter tramp. So I would guess this man to be 5'5". It's hard to do that, but notice the vehicle relative, that man's body relative to that vehicle, he's 5'5". Here's another picture of Charles Frederick Rogers in grade school, I believe, or middle school. Notice the lines that travel from the center of the face underneath the eyes across the cheekbones. Now this is a young boy, but his bone structure is such that he has a line there. It's not gone to a wrinkle because he's younger. But if you go, what you know, as you age, if there's an indention on your face, as you get older, it unfortunately turns into a wrinkle. This shorter tramp has that wrinkle in exactly the same place, under his eye. Exactly the same place. I took the liberty of taking his picture of him standing with his uncle in a yard when he was, I'm thinking, 16 or 17. And I drew lines around his eye socket, under his nose, and I drew a line on the forehead where the bony superciliary arch, right where it stops, it starts thrusting out, and where it's the summit of that bony ridge. I drew a line there, and then I drew a line where the hair started and where it sort of curved back. And if you look at the shorter tramp, it's got the same landmarks, as best as I could do, considering his head is in a slightly different position and it's turned a little. But still, those horizontal landmarks as you go up on the face, if you compare them, it's just almost identical. So even his hair, the texture of his hair, when he combs it, tends to bend back about the same place. Another picture of Charles Frederick Rogers compared to the shorter tramp. Unfortunately, I need to tell you that because your nose consists of gristle, cartilaginous material, also your ears and your nose grow your whole life. They do not stop growing. So the nose is bigger, but I believe Charles looks like he's 13 on the left, and then he's of course 41 on the right. If you take the outline of the ears, which everybody has dissimilar ears, sometimes they look identical, but one ear is going to be different on one side of your head from the other ear. It's just universal. And if you outline the ears of the youthful Rogers and you compare them, it's almost identical. I mean, this is remarkable. You can't even, it's hard to replicate these positions in people's heads, but it's just remarkable.